Good morning, Intenders.
Good morning.
Welcome to Morning Intentions. Today is Monday, January 26th, and we're in the final stretch of our month of orientation. As we've stated throughout the month, this is a month of listening, noticing, and we're getting into the aligning part. And Annette, you wanted to share something about that, but before you share anything, we're not trying to fix anything. We're not striving for anything. We're not to that stage yet. We're mainly focusing on listening and noticing.
We sat down over our weekend and we made some plans for the podcast for the next few months. I wanted to share that because the orientation month has gotten us to this place where we're willing to listen and we're willing to notice. It's very common in life for life to feel so overwhelming that we don't even want to listen. We don't want to notice what's going on inside. And so we've all had a lot of courage and been brave enough to say, okay, I'm in on this orientation thing. And we've learned a lot. What we're going to do this week, we're going to get us ready for the next 2 months.
You heard that right.
The next 2 months. When Ada did the little teaser there about, well, we're not quite to aligning, that's because we're not quite to aligning. And next month, we're going to learn about aligning. And then the following month, we're going to have a book study. And the book we're very excited about. We've taken trainings from the author. We were thinking about doing the book study next month, like starting in February, but there was this piece that we could see was missing before we would jump into the book. So we will announce the book at the beginning of February so that if you're interested in getting the book and following along with us, you'll have enough time to get it. But for this week, we're going to put the final touches on orientation and then get us ready for next month. And so the theme for next month is aligning. As we learn to align together, and there's a lot to it, once we learn to align, then we're going to get into our book study. So I feel really good about the plan. We took a lot of time to think about this natural evolution because what we're trying to do with Morning Intentions podcast is to build our personal development tools in a way that makes sense to us. And so we don't want it to be too chopped up. We want these months to flow together. In a way, you could say we started this way back in October when we started looking at hustle culture. And then we had November so what is our why anyway? We're taking this all the way through. And hopefully you're being helped by the continuation of content so that it's not so siloed each month, that we're building content and we're taking our tools, putting them in our toolbox, using those tools to then tackle what's next. So everything that we've learned this month about orientation, and hopefully many of you have chosen your word for the year, and that's starting to provide some sort of a foundation inside. I know I refer to mine all the time. Like I shared, wasn't even so sure if I was going to have a word for the year, but I'm using it all the time. And this week, our main focus for the first few days at least, we want to acknowledge once we start listening and noticing, once we start seeing these patterns, sometimes it can feel really uncomfortable. We can see these patterns of behavior and think, what do we do now? What happens now? The message we want to share today is please be content and have patience with noticing the patterns, with increasing your self-awareness. Because it took us a long time to get to where we're at right now. Back using my analogy of going out for pie with my coworkers, I was going out for pie with my coworkers in the 1980s. I didn't realize.
Really dating yourself there.
I know, but I didn't realize. That's why I want to give everybody hope. I didn't realize what that pattern was until 5 years ago, where I could see that pattern very, very clearly in my life. We do ourselves a huge favor when we start understanding the patterns and bringing in self-awareness. We also give ourselves a huge disservice if we see the pattern, we get the self-awareness, and we think we need to solve it right away. Truly, most people don't even do this work long enough to understand the pattern. Most people do not do this work at all, right? Only 25% of us do. The 25% of us that do might get a little discouraged when they start seeing patterns. Please stay with it, because if you can notice the patterns and become oriented within yourself, there are solutions. And that's where we're starting this week, but that's also where we're going to head into February. With the alignment, we're going to start asking ourselves questions. We're going to do some self-inquiry, and then the answers will come.
You're so right that we need to learn to sit with the discomfort, or at least allow the discomfort to be uncomfortable until we can find an actual solution. So many times we feel the discomfort and then we just do something to try to not feel that discomfort anymore. We either ignore it, we distract ourselves,
lash out,
we numb ourselves, we do the first solution that comes to mind. We try to do something. The problem gets to be if we've just recognized that it's a problem, if we notice the pattern, we may not even have the tools or the skill set to tackle the problem fully and completely. If we just do something, what happens more often than anything is the something that we did turns into its own problem.
There's also an experience that I want to talk about tomorrow because we're running out of time for today.
Are you chomping at the bit and it's only Monday?
Here I am. Yes, this has been a month of chomping at the bit. But what's important to acknowledge within ourselves is when we start listening and noticing, and then we become aware of what's going on, or we can start seeing some patterns. What typically happens is we get scared because we see these coping strategies. We may not have that word for them, but that's what they are. We see these coping strategies that have worked for us. Remember, they're survival strategies. They've worked for us. They've helped us go through our day. They've helped us manage the stress. They've helped us in our relationships. We see these coping strategies and we say, I can't give that up. I don't know who I would be or what my life would be without this coping strategy. And that's where it can feel destabilizing. We're going to talk about that tomorrow because there might be some fear that starts coming up when we do listen and notice, like we're all learning to do this month.
So our intention for today is an affirmation. The first time ever on Morning Intentions have we ever done an actual affirmation. Some of them can sound affirmational, but they're intentions. This is an affirmation. Discomfort doesn't mean I'm doing something wrong. It means I'm present. And if you'd like to use the words that we've been repeating throughout the month, here's another version of today's affirmation. Discomfort doesn't mean I'm doing something wrong. It means I'm listening and noticing. Discomfort means I'm listening and noticing. Thank you so much for joining us today. Our day is better because you are part of our day. See you tomorrow.
See you then.